Want to get you up to speed on the Kincade Fire. It's been burning now for 6 days in Sonoma County. Here are the new numbers just in. It has now burned more than 75,000 acres. It remains at 15% containment. At least 124 structures are destroyed. Also, some 90,000 homes and buildings are still threatened, with more than 100,000 people still under those evacuation orders. 2 firefighters have been hurt, one suffering burn injuries, flown to UC Davis Medical Center. He's now in stable condition.
And we have live team coverage for you right now. First, let's get right to NBC Bay Area's Pete Serratos. He's live in Santa Rosa with the next step firefighters from across the country are taking in the firefight. And Pete, I know CAL FIRE just gave us an update on where things stand. So what's next here?
Yeah, good morning to you, Marcus. Yeah, we just got that update in the past hour at the Incident Command Center here at the Sonoma County Fairgrounds in Santa Rosa. We have thousands of firefighters are all stationed here getting ready to battle the Kincade Fire. In fact, there was a debrief earlier this morning at about 7 a.m. That's where all the firefighters met to kind of lay out that game plan for the rest of the day. But CAL FIRE officials explaining specifically that the goal is really to build those containment lines or continue to build the containment lines and protect structures in the area. Now, the big focus over the next 12 hours are those winds, with CAL FIRE describing the flow changing from onshore to offshore. So really, guys, this is going to test the westward flanks along the 101 corridor, something that we've talked a lot about when it comes to containing this Kincade Fire. Now, bottom line, this wind event could become an issue when it comes to overall containment, and it's why CAL FIRE says there's going to be a heavy fire presence along the 101 in preparation for those evening winds.
The wind that we contend with until it actually surfaces, we have a general estimate of where it's going to be coming at, but it could be anywhere along that that perimeter. So 101 is one of our priorities to hold, and that whole area that's populated on the 101 corridor. So that will be the test this evening when that one comes through, and that's why you'll see a significant number of resources in place around those communities.
As far as evacuations go, the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department says it's not really a good day to talk about areas being repopulated since there's still a lot of work to do. The county mentions there's 21 shelters open around the county for people as they prepare for this code blue advisory due to the cold temperatures. But we expect another media briefing a little bit later this evening at 6:30 p.m. In Santa Rosa, Pete Serratos, NBC Bay Area News.
Yeah, so many firefighters there to fight that fire. Pete, thank you. Now, we want to pause to give you just a little perspective on just how big the Kincade Fire is. We're talking about more than 75,000 acres. Now, this is a map we're showing you here of that fire zone. And you see in the red right here, this is the fire. But what we want to do for you right now is take that fire and then place it over San Francisco. Just look at the scope of this fire. It extends all the way here to the ocean, down to SFO here. Just huge here, taking up a lot of space, covering a lot of area that fire is. Also, we want to show you another area, this how it blankets over the San Jose area. And you can see right here, this is just how big that is, from Fremont all the way down here to the end of San Jose, streaking to the Santa Cruz Mountains there. The scope of this, just that give you an idea of how this fire stretches from one end to the other. And with those conditions all the way right now, we're dealing with those wind conditions. This fire is expected to spread, but firefighters are trying to get a good hold on what we can expect from this fire, keeping it contained and keep it from spreading even more. At least that's the hope that we have for us right now, Laura.
Well, you know, there's so much smoke in the Bay Area as well. Taking over here, head view here of the smoke that's been blowing across the mountains. Live shot from St. Helena this morning. And also all that smoke that's been coming into the Bay Area. Not very healthy to breathe in. Carrie Hall's in our weather center right now with more on these strong winds that are expected later today as well.
Yeah, we have the strong winds coming in, the smoke being displaced across the Bay Area. It just looks so smoky as we take a look at this view over San Francisco right now. If you do have breathing problems, make sure you're wearing a mask and limiting your time outside. If you're inside a vehicle, you'll be driving around, turn the air conditioner on, recirculate. And so here's what we are seeing once again with that view from St. Helena, looking at the Kincade Fire. So much of this land landscape has been burned, but you can also see that they're trying to make some progress dropping the fire retardant, as you see some of the lines there as we try to get some more containment as the winds start to pick up once again. We have an outline of the area that has burned, and I also put some arrows on here in the areas where we're expecting it to spread. With a northerly to northeasterly wind, it's going to continue to spread the fire farther off towards the south and as well as the southwest, so that it makes it move closer to Highway 101, and the edge of that line of where we've seen the Kincade fire burn is so close to the highway already, so we could possibly see it getting on the other side of Highway 101 with a strong wind. Looking at what we are seeing in terms of that smoke drifting in, we do have some unhealthy air quality for areas like Oakland and San Francisco. It's really being trapped in those low levels of the atmosphere, so it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. That means people who have breathing problems, asthma, even the really high amount of allergies. You're going to want to take it easy today as our red flag warning goes up now for the North Bay. We'll see other areas also being added into a red flag warning, meaning a high fire danger going into the afternoon. We'll go through a timeline of the wind speeds and what we're expecting over the next 24 hours. That's coming up in the full microclimate forecast.
All right, Carrie, thank you. Well, happening right now, the next round of power shutoffs are underway. We have team coverage. Bob Riddell is talking with folks who've been without power for days now.
But first, let's check in with NBC Bay Area's Chris Sanchez. She's joining us with a look at where it's all happening and how to stay up to date.
This is PG&E's map that we're going to show you. You just saw it for a minute there for the outage that is happening today through tomorrow. Some of the really northern parts of that area have already lost their power. In the Bay Area, we expect about 11 o'clock. Now, all of these areas in the orange, it's the yellow, those are all of the areas that are affected. It's every county in the Bay Area except for San Francisco. Now, folks can also check their neighborhoods by zooming in and trying to find the street view map that way. You can also type in a specific address. It is helpful, though, to look at that street view if you're passing through one community to the next as you go on through your day. You can find a link to this at NBCBayArea.com. We want to make sure you have access to that. I also talked with a PG&E spokesperson in just the last 45 minutes, and she tells me that about 60% of customers affected by the last outage have their power back. That means 40% still don't. She echoes the plea of PG&E's CEO asking community members to remember, don't take your frustration out on the crews in the field in your community trying to get the lights back on.
We understand that emotions are high and that people are angry, but we just ask that you please do not take that out on the men and women who are working in the field right now trying to restore power safely and as quickly as possible.
Okay, so here is the timeline of the outages so that you can be ready at 7 o'clock this morning in parts of Sonoma, Napa, Solano, Mendocino, Lake counties. They saw their lights come off. Then by 11 o'clock tonight, the power will start to go out in Marin, Santa Clara County, that's the Evergreen neighborhood, also Alum Rock, Santa Cruz, San Mateo, Alameda County, and Contra Costa counties. Now, so far, PG&E reports that crews reported 50 different areas where there was wind damage because of that last wind event, and about 100 instances of damage from the wind event before. Laura?
All right, very concerning. Thanks, Chris. Well, now let's take you live to Contra Costa County.
NBC Bay Area's Bob Riddell live for us in Orinda. And I know he just spoke with people who have had their lights out for days. And Bob, it seems like they're going to have to endure this for another day or two.
Well, it's hard to tell because in the past 9 minutes, the power did come back on here in the downtown area of Orinda. Prior to the power coming back on, we were visiting with the Murphys. I haven't been back to their house to know if the power's back on, but they do live up in the hills above us here in Orinda. They're in a steep area surrounded by lots of brush and trees. This is a neighborhood that would be at risk of burning if a power line were to come down during a windstorm. Now, they've been without power since Saturday, living by candles and flashlights, charging their phones in their cars. They've already thrown out the food from their fridge. They drive about 5 towns away for food when they want it hot and fresh. Today, they're going to take their laundry to a friend who does have power because they're out of clean clothes. They suspect the power will go back out tonight if it is still on today, and that it will be off until Thursday. Now, Noel Murphy says it feels like the life of a caveman, but in spite of this huge inconvenience, he surprisingly sympathizes with PG&E. He believes the utility is trying to do the best it can given the predicament it has put itself in.
Again, I don't mind. I don't care. It's just nature of the beast. Just hope these schools open up, right, and the kids can go to school and learn. But all in all, a lot of people are complaining about it. Hey, it's just another day in the park for me.
What are we supposed to do? Are we going to moan and groan about it? Of course we want to, but there's no point. It gets you nowhere. So I'm just glad I was a candle hoarder because I've been able to be resourceful with matches, and heat-wise, you just pack on another layer.
We've heard from a number of people who aren't as forgiving as the Murphys. We asked one commuter this morning in Orinda his thoughts on PG&E. His words, no comment. Reporting live here in Orinda, Bob Riddell, NBC Bay Area News.
Thanks so much, Bob. Governor Gavin Newsom blasted PG&E for creating the outage situation, he says, through years of mismanagement and what he calls greed. The Central Valley congressman is drafting a bill that would fine the utility with taxes if it pays executive bonuses while not improving power infrastructure. Chris Sanchez posted a Twitter poll asking if taxes are the answer. Folks seem split down the middle, with 2 people saying the utility should be broken up and taken over by the state. We'll be going on air early tomorrow morning to track those winds and power outages for you. Be sure to join us for a special Today in the Bay edition. We will start at 4 a.m. tomorrow.